communication is derived from the Latin word communicare, which means to say. The key elements of communication are sender, message, channel, receiver, and feedback. The basic purpose of communication is to exchange information and ideas. A communication between two people is called interpersonal communication. Which of the following is not a type of communication? That is physical. Communication that occurs with an individual is intrapersonal. Communication using spoken words is known as the verbal communication. Facial expression, gesture, and body language represents non-verbal communication. Which one is an example of verbal communication? That is telephone conversation. Written communication includes all of the above, that is reports, memos, and the letters. Which of these is a barrier of effective communication? That is noise. In mass communication, the sender communicates with a large audience. Which of the following is not a medium of communication? That is silence. Communication that flows from a superior to a subordinate is called downward communication. Horizontal communication takes place between people at the same level. Which of these is an example of group communication? That is classroom teaching. In one-way communication, receiver is passive. Feedback in communication is important because it checks understanding. Which of the following is a formal communication channel? That is official memo. Which communication type is used in newspaper? That is mass communication. In oral communication, the message is transmitted through spoken words. What is the key difference between verbal and non-verbal communication? Use of word versus body languages. Communication becomes more effective when there is active listening. Communication through pictures, diagrams, and charts is called as a graphical communication. Non-verbal communication can be conveyed through all of the above, that is gesture, eye contact, and the posture. Effective communication requires sender, message, channel, receiver, and feedback. In the communication process, the person who initiates the message is called sender. When the message is understood accurately as intended, communication is said to be effective. Communication within a library team to coordinate daily work is an example of internal communication. Which of the following is not an example of oral communication? That is email. What is paralanguage in communication? Non-verbal cues like tone and pitch. Kinesics refers to communication through body movement. Communication used for delivery public lecture is a type of the mass communication. Which type of communication is fasted? That is verbal. Verbal communication does not include eye contact. In organizational settings, communication flows in all directions. The term grapevine in communication refers to informal communication. In communication, the term channel refers to the medium used to transmit the message. Written communication is preferred when formal record is needed. Communication that flows diagonally in an organization is cross-functional. An example of interpersonal communication is prayer. Face-to-face communication is usually two-way. The process of converting thoughts into message is called encoding. Which one is not an element of communication? That is spreadsheet. The receiver's response to a message is known as the feedback. Communication skills are essential for professional success only. Two-way communication allows for feedback. The message in communication refers to the content to be communicated. Informal communication in the workplace is also known as the grapevine. Effective communication leads to clarity and cooperation.